I'm sorry, what's your problem? Why do you want to sterilize kids, man?
Sterilize kids? I want my niece to feel like she can be alive. I don't want that.
Oh, you don't. Too bad. You don't get a choice.
I don't get a choice.
Back up.
Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News, standing in front of the Vancouver Art Gallery because this was the scene of a brutal attack just a few days ago at the very end of the year. An attack on this man behind me. Many of you recognize him. His name, or he goes by, Billboard Chris. He's a peaceful child protection advocate who stands up, or I should say against, things like puberty blockers for kids. We're going to speak to him about this latest attack and give you an update on what's going to happen about it.
Proud of yourself, huh? I got a weapon too. F you, huh?
Well, it's a new year, but the same old violence when it comes to the Love is Love Rainbow Mafia, who simply can't stand a peaceful activist like Billboard Chris, who stands against the medical transitioning of children. We're going to get to the latest assault on Billboard Chris now.
2025 is going to be a fantastic year, and possibly the best day of the year is going to be September 13th. I'm going to be in London, England, joining Tommy Robinson, who should be out of prison and out of solitary confinement by then, where he's been locked up for using his voice. And we're going to have a rally for freedom of speech, because what's going on in the United Kingdom is totally out of control. September 13th, pencil it into your calendar. Join us. I'm sorry, what's your problem? Why do you want to sterilize kids, man?
Sterilize kids? I want my niece to feel like she can be alive. I don't want that.
Oh, you don't. Too bad. You don't get a choice.
I don't get a choice.
Back up.
We meet again. Thanks for being back on Rebel News.
My pleasure. Always good to see you, Drea.
It is always good to see you, but not always good to see you getting assaulted. We're going to jump right into this most recent one that took place right here, right?
Right here. Yep.
Okay, let's show a clip of that, and then you can break down what we weren't able to tell.
Okay.
Let's have a look.
Like I say, kill yourself. Go. I'm not playing around.
I'm not playing either.
Dude, playing with other people's lives though, okay?
I'm going to keep having these conversations, and I don't care how many motherfuckers like you try to me with your violence.
You're a tough guy.
Doesn't matter to me.
Proud of yourself, huh?
Keep it going.
Proud of yourself, huh? I got a weapon too. F you, huh?
That was crazy.
That was crazy. That was one of the more violent people I've had to deal with in a very long time. I've had lots of assaults, but that guy really was extremely aggressive. Probably the most aggressive since, I'd say, Montreal in 2021 when I got my arm broken.
Fuck out of this neighborhood. Go, Chris. Let's go, Chris. Get the f out of here!
No!
Transphobes, f off! The f out!
You leaving?
Okay. Yeah, fucking leave! Turn the f around and leave, assholes! Get the f out of here! Walk off! Right?
Am I bleeding?
Yeah.
So I didn't know who he was. I'd never seen him before, but I posted that video, and then the sleuths on the internet started to do their work, and I found out it's a man named Jeff Savage, and he happens to work in the bar right at the Hotel Georgia right beside us. So not very smart to assault me 100 feet from your workplace.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, that just shows how unhinged some of these people are, pink purse and all. You mentioned Montreal. We covered that as well, where I don't think we were able to find who those people were, correct? So tell us what's happening with the police. You've obviously reported this.
Yes, I've reported it. I've submitted all my evidence and my police statement. And the police officer I spoke with did tell me that there's enough evidence there to press charges, so I expect they will arrest him if they haven't already. And they will charge him, and then it's up to the Crown Prosecutor to approve that charge or not. And consistently in Canada, when I've had these assaults, it's usually the Crown Prosecutors who are the problem. I had an assault just in October in Victoria. A trans-identified woman threw her coffee on me and tried to destroy my equipment. And the police were great. They did a fabulous job. They arrested her. They submitted charges. But again, the Crown Prosecutor refused to go forward with the charge. And probably the most egregious example of this was at a park in East Vancouver, March 31st of 2023, when two trans-identified males were each screaming in both of my ears. And I got punched in the throat and the head, pulled, pushed, took a tumble. And the investigating officer smiled as that whole assault took place. And again, they actually did end up arresting him a week later. I found that out just a few months ago. But again, in that case as well, the Crown Prosecutor refused to go forward with the charges because they play the trans card.
Absolutely. Now, I want to circle back. It's good news that they're saying that they have enough evidence to do something about this. One of the things I noticed in the comments when you shared this brutal attack on you was some people putting the blame on you because there was a little bit of push. So what I did was I reached out to a former officer whose job was actually specializing in training officers, including self-defense. This is what he had to say in more generally. He's not speaking as a lawyer to this case, but more generally when an aggressor approaches you. Take a listen.
In that case, under the Canadian Criminal Code Section 34, there is a right to self-defense. And essentially what that means is that you are indeed allowed to defend yourself and others in the event that there is an active assault going on, or if there is an immediate threat of an assault about to happen. So if somebody is approaching you with balled up fists ready to swing, you are allowed to hit them first.
Go. I'm not playing around.
I'm not playing either.
Dude, playing with other people's lives though, okay?
I'm gonna keep having these conversations, and I don't care how many motherfuckers like you.
So there is one mitigating factor, and that is in section 34.2c. And essentially what that says is that there is some consideration that can be given in the event that a conflict has been instigated. So if you ask someone to hit you, then obviously that would be considered, right? As opposed to, an assault actually just happening on its own or because somebody just didn't like you.
So how many times do you think you've been assaulted?
I'd say about 40 if you include people spitting at me. It's every couple of months for sure. Especially in the beginning, the first year was particularly crazy. And these days I'm busy sometimes doing other things apart from on the street. But it's been about 40. And regarding that little push that I gave him, when someone comes at you with violent intent, you don't have to wait for them to actually punch you in the face before you start defending yourself. When people are screaming inches from your ear, as happened last year, I'm already being assaulted. And when you come at me with violent intent, I'm going to hold my space.
I'm sorry, what's your problem? Why do you want to sterilize kids, man?
Sterilize kids, I want my niece to feel like she can be alive. I don't want that.
Oh, you don't. Too bad. You don't get a choice.
I don't get a choice.
Back up.
And so the least I'm going to do is extend my arm to protect my personal space. And that's all I did there. These people on the internet, they just like causing trouble and want to blame the victim of a crime for the crime itself.
And that's also very consistent with what Dan Knipe said. Now, you've been going across the world with this message. You're getting faced by violence. That certainly isn't slowing down. But it does seem like the pendulum is shifting. So from your perspective, where do you think we are as far as this type of fight and advocacy goes in 2025?
I've always been tremendously optimistic because I know this is so crazy. sterilizing children, cutting off the body parts of children, telling them that they're born wrong, that's abusive. So I always knew it was just a matter of time, and awareness is always number one. The more people are aware, the more people start fighting back, and we are seeing tons of progress. 26 states have passed legislation in the US to stop this. Alberta has now passed legislation for under 16s. They can't receive puberty blockers or cross-sex hormones. That's not nearly good enough, because they shouldn't be doing double mastectomies on 16-year-olds who have autism, who have suffered sexual abuse and trauma. But it's a half measure, and a half measure is 100% better than no measure. So tons of awareness has been happening. We have progress happening in European countries. There are many lawsuits now flying in the US. So I'm really happy with our progress, and we're just going to keep making more.
Well, like I said, we're right across the street from Hotel Georgia, where Pink Purse Savage works. We're going to go in there, see if he's actually working. Can we ask him some questions, in particular, why the violence, and why is he such a cheerleader for mutilating children?
After you.
Go ahead.
It's okay.
Thank you.
I look like a dorm.
Go in first.
Yeah, Savage working today? It's not working today? Okay.
Well, if you're new to Rebel News, you might not know this. We cover the other side of the story, and that includes the sexualization of children in schools and beyond. To learn more about reports like this and what's happening, go to our special website called StopClassroomGrooming.com. There you can take action against it and also chip in a few bucks to help support the news we bring the people.